Good morning. This is John from the Springs Mennonite Church. Here I am again to share a little bit more about the minor prophet Habakkuk or Habakkuk. And if you remember yesterday, I talked about how his first question to God was, "Why aren't you doing something? Why aren't you helping out?" And God's answer in verse 5 of chapter 1 is, "I'm going to do something, and you won't believe it even if I told you." So today we get to verse 6 and a couple of verses where God tells Habakkuk what he's going to do. Verse 6, I am raising up the Babylonians, a cruel and violent people. They will march across the world and conquer other lands. They will come all bent on violence. Their hordes advance like a desert wind, sweeping captives ahead of them like the sand. And then verse 12, Habakkuk responds and says, O Lord my God, my Holy One, you who are eternal, surely you do not plan to wipe us out. O Lord, our rock, you have sent these Babylonians to correct us, to punish us for our sins. But you are pure and can't stand the sight of evil. Would you wink at their treachery? Should you be silent while the wicked swallow up people more righteous than they are? This conversation gets really interesting. And it's also very applicable to our situation. So let's back up a bit. First, Habakkuk says, Hey, God, do something. Come on. Can't you see what's happening? And God says, Of course I see. I've already got something planned that you won't even believe if I told you. So then he tells him, I'm going to send the Babylonians in. They're known for their cruelty, their wickedness, their treachery. And Habakkuk says, What? You're going to send who? Are you trying to get rid of us? My goodness, God, you're, you're holy. You can't do this. This is going to wipe everything out. Now, we'll leave the question there and pick up a little bit more tomorrow and the rest of this week. But think of your life. How many times have you asked God to do something and you thought he didn't hear you? How many times have you been in a situation where you thought you were abandoned? Even God wasn't around. And how many times have you cried out, Hey, God, where are you? What are you doing? Hey, wake up, will you? I'm down here suffering. Do something. And at that moment, if God had said to you, I want to do something, I haven't forgotten you. I'm not going to leave you to struggle. I got it. Hang in there. I'm on top of this. I want to do something. I'm going to do the right thing. But if I told you ahead of time, you wouldn't believe me. And then God acts. And we don't like the answer. You see, so many times when we call out to God when we're in trouble, we already know what we want him to do. We don't want him to decide that. We've already figured it out. And we want God to do what we want him to do, just like the prophet Habakkuk. He wanted God to put the Israelites up on top. And the idea of sending in the Babylonians was as ridiculous as anything he could think of. It was just shocking, which is why God said in between the two questions, I want to do something, but you won't believe it, even if I tell you. So many times God does things that we can't believe. He does things in ways we didn't expect. He does things in ways we don't like. He does things in ways that only make sense to him. See, here's the important point here. Okay? You listening? Here it is. God knows exactly what he's doing. Yeah? Let me say it again. God knows exactly what he's doing. You and I don't know that. You and I want something based on what's happening right now. God's timetable is much, much broader. And so many times when I look back on my life, maybe you too, if God had done what I wanted him to do at that point in time, everything that I know that's happened since would have been radically different. You see, God is watching out for you and me. Doesn't feel like it sometimes. Hey, I'll grant you that. And I've had my moments of wondering, hey, God, what are you doing? Where are you? And those moments are not frivolous. They're important. And they hurt. And they drive us to despair. And they make us begin to think that all is lost. But it isn't. This conversation between Habakkuk and God shows us clearly that it's not a waste, that God is doing something more powerful than we can imagine, even before we ask. So I'd like for you to think about your life today. Where are you in God's plan for you? If you don't know, that's okay. Heck, I don't know half the time. And I'm the preacher. I'm supposed to know. But God does. And we can rest in that because he's going to do something for our benefit that we would never believe if he told us. Well, hang in there. We'll take another look at Habakkuk tomorrow and the rest of this week and see where we wind up. Thanks for listening. If you have a concern or a prayer need, let us know. We'll do whatever we can as fast as we can to help meet your need. Until tomorrow, God bless you. I'll talk to you again.